I have the purest, most humble gratitude right now. I'm just so beyond blessed, so beyond lucky. These are the Margiela Tabis, knee-high tabbies in the oxblood color. I've been dreaming about these. Like, I cannot express how crazy it is that these are part of my reality now. I'm just floored. I'm stunned, and I'm just so humbled and grateful. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me. And I just, yeah, this is how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. Okay, so this is the craziest part. I wrote this comment January, the 10th of January, so nearly a year ago. Okay, so I wrote on Violet's TikTok, TikToker I follow, saying, wow, those are my dream tabbies, and complaining about the fact that they don't come in my size. Look at her. She looks freaking cute. So good on her. They just make every outfit. But anyway, and here are some of the previous collections, and you can see how the tabbies were used, I think from 88 onwards. And just love these pictures. Incognito. I just love it. Yeah, this is his first show. You can see the red, bloody footprints. Yeah, here's another example of that. His first show, I think they were using red paint, so their trace was left behind on the runway. But anyway, I've always loved Margiela Tabis. I've always wanted this specific pair, the knee-high ones, and I just didn't think it would be possible. At this point, I'm going to share a video from ID magazine that goes into more detail about the provenance of the shoe and the design itself.
Margiela stated, I wanted to create an invisible shoe, the illusion of a bare foot walking on a high, chunky heel. But the tabby's roots precede the designer's interpretation of the style, and the split toe actually dates back to 15th century Japan, when the importing of cotton enabled the mass production of socks. The socks were developed with divided toes in order to be worn with the country's traditional thonged sandals. Though Margiela's first tabbies were doused in red paint to make footprints more visible, the traditional tabby sock colour was an indicator of the wearer's rank or an occasion. Thanks to the mass production of rubber in the 1900s, soles were then added, taking the tabbies from socks to sneakers, and in 1951, Shigeki Tanaka won the Boston Marathon in a pair of split-toed tabby sneakers. Martin Margiela then saw the mesmerizing silhouette on a trip to Japan in the 80s and turned it into the house's iconic hoof.
Okay, now let's look at this article by Arabelle Sicardi on Essence's website. You can pause to read. I think this part of the article talks about some of the other designers that have used this style, referencing Japanese tradition. But anyway, I really want to show you guys these Prada ones that are completely bonkers. Like, I really love these Prada ones. They are completely bonkers. Ma'am went ham. I love them. Here's another pic of the first show ever. And look at the tabs. This part of the article, it gives a little bit of history about how the shoe was first produced and who was involved in the production. So really love how Martin Margiela fuses his artistic practice with his design practice. And that first show was fascinating in that each model had red paint painted on the bottom of her tabbies, and they would leave the trace of their existence or their performance as models. I think that's really fascinating because he is really engaging not only with the body, but these ephemeral elements that we don't really engage with so directly. I don't think I've ever thought about my footprint outside of a beach, but here's what he says. Margiela explains this theatrical decision like so. I thought the audience should notice the new footwear, and what would be more evident than its footprint? Okay, look at these scarab-colored boots. Oh God, those are so good. Wow. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the article where she discusses the uncanny valley. So I'm going to read along. Margiela introduced the fashion industry to the uncanny valley in his debut. Though the uncanny valley repulsion response is usually in reference to robotics that look just a little too much like humans, Margiela induced it with a comparatively low-tech pair of shoes. tabby look similar enough to classic boots to not be the first thing you see in an outfit, but upon closer inspection, they become the main object of fascination and demand your judgment. The colorways contribute to the confusion. A beige leather might look so much like fleshy, cloven hooves that they repulse you, to say nothing of the alienation you might experience and eventually come to love from seeing a high-shine metallic or patterned one. Margiela would take the tabby painted runway and reuse it for his next show. He turned it into a waistcoat held together by brown Scotch tape. This was as much budgetary decision as a design ethos. Make the familiar strange again and the strange beautiful, making the most of what you've got and turning it into something new. Margiela's delight in inventive thriftiness is a big part of what made the brand so thrilling when it debuted. He explained to Brulot that in the beginning there was no budget for a new form, so I had no other choice than to continue with the tabby style if I wanted shoes. But after several collections, people started asking for them, and they wanted more. And they didn't stop asking, thank God. I really like how this article closes, so I'm going to read this quote. You might find them charming or you might find them pretentious. The thing is, you're always in one of these categories. Tabbies don't compel apathy. They force you to feel, and it is rare that a garment can provoke these kinds of emotions. So I'm going to trace back in a way to that original comment that I made on Violet's account. I honestly never envisioned that I'd be able to buy these shoes in my size, and the fact that brands are becoming more inclusive and thinking about an expansive sizing list, like even just approaching shoes as plus size rather than gendered, is revolutionary, honestly. And I really admire people and I guess brands even that are thinking beyond boundaries and borders, because essentially these borders are permeable and we get to decide how meaningful they are in our lives. And I guess the other point is, like, tracing back to that original comment, just dream, because you never know when your dream will manifest. 10 months or 11 months, like, that's crazy. And it wasn't even a realistic dream, but somehow I have these now. So honestly, maybe I should be dreaming bigger, actually. Okay, but anyway, yeah, that's a nice message to leave on.